Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the breakfast show. And today we are on the 16th of April, definitely Friday, after we finish our last weekend masterclass. And certainly the market has gone higher, not so much for our Malaysian market, but definitely for the US market in here. Now, I hope that a lot of our trading ideas are finding those targets that we've seen, if not the Pentagon Guider, if not maybe those trending stocks. So we probably have something for you, and let's look at our headline for you. And for those of you who want me to look at some stocks in there, do pencil those in. And yet, our country now is opening more than ever. Now let's get started and let's look at what we have for you this morning in our headline. And definitely we'll be looking at the Friday, that's right, our Friday advanced level premium alert, the chart setup. We'll be looking at those in here. And not forget, today is the day before our training tomorrow. That's right, our SMARTRobie training that we'll be doing in there, and it's going to be very, very interesting tomorrow. Those of you who have signed up, thank you for coming tomorrow. But let's look at what the market has for us this morning in our news roundup. That's right. Now, if you can see from here, the recent Bank Negara is announcing our country for the first quarter of 2021 being very, very healthy. The growth between 6.6% to 7.5%. And a lot of things are moving. That's what we're seeing. A lot of the big projects, the infrastructure products, that's coming out. So let's take a look at the market right now, shall we? And switching to a wider chart here. So you can see, despite all the news is, our market has not, if you look on the right hand side in there, we have not really broken between the 1620. The last high will be 1640. Now this is still positive, to be frank with you. If you look at the green pentagon and by the blue trend zone, our market still range bound in here. The question is always going to be, if the point where it hits the 1640, what is going to do, and whether the market's going. Of course, certainly the economic indicators are pointing to it, but usually we want to see the stock market moving ahead before that. And let's look at what we have also this morning. Really active one, you could see WS1, which is on this side of the left hand side of the screen. We got Lambo and also Top Gainer, T Ocean, and Comfort, Supermax. Right, and the big decliner MC Main, I think they're doing right issue for that one. Pardini also, MPI been falling a fair bit, but just a 12% in there, something to take note of. All right. So let's also move on to our next headline with the positive news that the country is moving in the right direction. But we are seeing foreign retail banks exiting. That's right, 13 market across. So there will be fair bit of people really looking for new career elsewhere, and I think this is also good. Now, if those of you remember some time back in 2013, when CIMB wanted to grow under the previous CIMB leadership in there, and they took up RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland, and wanted to grow that. As such, they also face very, very difficult. Now, the onslaught of digital banking license is coming right now. So retail banks like this Citibank will have a tough time fighting for those ultra high net worth people. So with competing with the smaller banks like the Alliance banks, and also the top tier banks are the your May banks and so CMB. So it is basically reshuffling of players in there. All right. So also on our chart, like we've seen on just above me, we've seen Supermax and Comfort. Those are one of the active one. You could see trading about 11 million and 19 million. So that one is going to be showing you why this market right now, because are we in wave 4? What do you think? Do you think we are in wave 4? Do share with me, and do see what's happening in the market. I know Miss Lee pointed out last weekend we are possibility on a wave 4, but we did have a line change. I posted up on our Facebook, and the R0 that you normally see has gone up. So I do think this Hari Raya will be a lockdown too. But it's kind of interesting to see when we have another big wave the rubber gloves stock goes up. But do take note that the rubber mainly are used for export purposes. Does that tell you the majority of the retail investor in Malaysia that only buy when we see physically our eyes in there? All right, we all know already a lot of the rubber stock maker. Let's take a look at this one. Let's look at Supermax 706. So you just type on this one, double click on 706 in here, and let's look at the fundamentals. You can see here, switching to a wider chart here, and you can see in itself, you can see it is already rated 5 out ratings. We know a lot of the rubber gloves are really actually undervalued. It's just that people need some sort of a resurgency of the COVID-19 to make it up. It's this kind of thing that tells you our market is not pricing it correctly. So there's some opportunity to be made. Of course, in there, if you look at the other stocks that I like, it's Top Glove. So you type TOP, not TOP, double click that one, right? And looking at the trading Top Glove and charts. So those of you who has not given up on Top Glove, you could see the green pentagon that appears around 480. So you could have got in on the opening of that one, or even you have got in a bit late earlier on somewhere on the first pentagon that you see on the left hand side around the 21st, just before 21st of March. The market did not close below the ATR stop loss. So that's usually the case. These are like the final stop loss before you really want to move out from there. So right now, this morning in here, Top Glove, let's check out the Top Glove stock price in here, and you could see it's still up 1.7%, 553. Where's the target price? And you can see right there. Let's go over to the fundamentals. I believe that SMARTRobie did calculate some target price. It is around 713. All right, 713 in there. And let's see how far it can go. All right, looking at the scene of the retail stock, and this was picked up by also Bloomberg and some of the media paper, is the small cap stocks. Now, small cap stock crushed the Malaysian index unseen in decade, and to me, when it is what it is, to be frank with you, because we are seeing a lot of retail, almost up to 30% are currently sort of in the market right now, and that's why small cap stocks, we've seen what we've seen early on, like Lambo, WZ1, those are the hot one that is running. Small cap stocks players are back, so definitely those of you who are looking at small caps will have plenty of opportunity. Definitely you want to check out the premium alert to get some of those small cap stocks. Again, small cap tend to be very volatile. It's not so much of a kind of investment grade, so do take note of it. So if it does run, give it, quickly take your profit as you go. All right, and also let's move on to what we have next for you. Okay, is our DIY. Now this was put up by one of our brokerage saying how good is DIY, and so that it deserves higher valuation. It is slightly even bigger now in terms of the market cap than Supermax, but I think Supermax will venture, and also Telecom Malaysia in here, and it's opening up 100 more stores with the DIY store. And take a look at the margins, the kind of margin they are getting, around 43%. That's right, that's the 43% profit margins are really what we call expansion in margin. And usually when you see expansion in margin, that's where you see the stock price move up. The other thing is, of course, revenue. So this expansion margin, which explains why. So you type on DIY here. Let's look at this here. And to see why the stock price is higher today, look at stock comment and chart, right? So we can see this is why in there, of course, right now we have the red pentagon coming down. But I think this news will probably revalue back. Let's take a look at the stock price this morning here, and stock price is doing, just switch over the wider chart here, is doing 1%. All right, so this is what naturally a lot of analysts, when they put up all this kind of good news, that tells you why it's going up. So the question is, will they able to maintain this 43%? Usually when business go further down the road, they tend to decrease their gross margin in here, and also store whether they can expand, increasing the revenue, and also maintaining that profit margin in here. Is there any target price? given up by the analysts here in M Investment. Not that I know of, but they did mention they are trying to reduce their so-called import from China, trying to reduce that. It is almost everything that you go into Mr. DIY shop today. If you do walk in, it's all from China, isn't it? Right? Even some of the food stuff that we have. All right. So thank you for sharing. And those of you who are first time, do type 1 there. Really appreciate for that purpose. All right. And okay, so let's move on to what we have next for you. Is the, let me just do a bit of sharing here. All right. And okay, and those of you who have some stocks that you want me to look at, do type it in there. I'm happy to look at them for you, right? And so we can sort of move on to other segment of our show. All right, now the last segment of the show is more like the story that some of you may have came across, and it's a story about greed at the end of the day, how a young man of 33 years old able, to became a billionaire, 740 million US dollar fraud. Okay, 740, that's a lot of money, to be frank with you, if you come to think of it. And people who tend to fall into this kind of traps, attracted by greed at 33 years old. I'm not saying that the young could not do it, but I'm saying that we, as we get older, when it comes to money, we should not be so-called attracted by high attractive returns. And this one is in the doubting of derivative. Remember, there's always two sides of the picture, and many of times for our masterclass, my job is actually to train you the psychology of it, because you're going to be in the market for a long time. I've been in the market for the last 15 years. So those of you who wanted to continue to be profitable, you don't want to have a career ending like this guy, a fraudster or a con man, UZ, his lavish lifestyle with his 5 million US dollar in there. And to me, all this tend to be very, very temporary. I think more importantly, I always believe if you do make the money, do put back into the society, right? Like many of the philanthropists are doing, the big one. And the same thing go to like the big hedge fund managers like Ray Dalio, Paul Tudor Jones, fund managers like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and they all put in. This will only create a lot of what we call social and economic fabrics of destruction that many people we should not see in there, and it attract a lot of what we call so not nice example to the younger generation, where living in a villa and expensive car. So something to sort of ponder upon why we are in the market. I think mainly for the purpose of getting having another source of income. All right, let's move on to our next story in here. Is no other than the US market. Now that's right, US Dow Jones has hit almost all-time high. That's right, it has hit all-time high, and as such, it's continued to hit new wing in here. And so if you take a look at all things being equal, the US market continued to move upside on the infrastructure project. Now do take note, because of the Biden 3 trillion infrastructure, a lot of steel, lumber, cement, all those things are moving up. That's why you can see a lot of the steel has been moving up, isn't it? As well as the lumber and cement too. So we've seen those stocks continue to move up higher because of the spending, building of new roads, bridges, repair, bus stations, railway train, and that is definitely pushing the Dow Jones higher on the 300-point gain here, as such as S&P 500 too has also followed too. And right now we are seeing the interest rate. If you do go to look at the US 10-year yield, we have a double top, which I mentioned it many times before, and right now it's a breakdown, and hopefully we're going to head towards the 1.5. So right now you'll see a lot of the Nasdaq stocks start to move up. So if you are quick, get into a lot of those tech stocks in US, and I do think in our Malaysian sense we will get that too. So one of the things you could do is to check the hot sector in here, switch out to the wider chart, and you could see technology is still on the second, right? Of course, healthcare, we've seen that big surge inside there. Of course, you want to know what stock to buy, type in healthcare. All right, double click that one, and this list of stocks that you can see here, and that's where you want to be. All right, of course there is a tech stock, you can go in and check it out too. All right, let's move on to our next story. Our next story is going to be our portfolio story. Now this weekend, definitely on Saturday, we're going to be showcasing to you on the fixed trading rule, the fixed income trading rule, or the so-called fixed portfolio trading rules in here. And in 2020, we achieved about 106% return on the backdrop of that one. So far, we've been very lucky for the January to April. Okay, we are already up almost at the 15.5% in here on a backdrop of 31%. So this weekend, join us at 10 o'clock as my one of my coach, Arif, will review the fixed rules that you can follow and able to profit out from our SMARTRobie Pentagon Guider for that one. So make sure you join us at 10 o'clock. That's right. All right, and let's move on to our leaderboard for our past advanced trade idea in here. BSL Corp is still continue to hit new win of 45% since 25th of February. Now take note, a lot of this time you need to allow the market to run. All right, you need to allow the market to run. Amanda, which is the oil and gas, so Samadian and Tasco, those are has run up nicely also too. Now remember, for the advanced trade idea, usually we are looking for very short movement, less than 5 bars kind of thing, even 10 bars. And if you want to if the trade doesn't work out, you want to quickly exit. So let's look at something that we did last week on ScoreNet, minus 3.4%, and for VIS, and also the other one, which is the ScoreNet, which has not gone much yet, has not made a big impact. So let's look at what we have for you, and looking at the charts. Okay, I'm going to bring up the charts right now. So you're going to show you here where they are. All right. So the first one is lesson learned. Let's go into lesson VIS. So in VIS is Vis Dynamic. The part that we were looking at was 9. Okay, so 9 of, let me just bring this up so you can see it here better. Okay, so this was on the 9th of April. Had to make it a bit closer to, smaller bit. Yeah, this is the 9th of April here, and the market did drop 5%, then it pop up 3%, drop now. So it's sort of congesting in here, but take note of the volume here. All right, the volume, there's a test inside here, and it's important if you close above this test, that means VIS and continue to go up. Now let's look at VIS. What segment is it in? VIS. All right, VIS. Now let's look at the stock fundamentals for that one. Okay, and it is not rated. That's right. It is it is a technology, it's an ACE market. It's pretty small. It's a small cap stocks, 250 million there. All right. It is of course definitely overvalued. But take note of the VIS is actually the 3 shareholder. Let me switch to a wider chart. Mr. Choi Ni Hong, Ong Hui Peng, and Lee Chong Ling. So usually when we see this kind of what we call major shareholder, which is owned by person, the owner itself, that tells you they take pride on it and not likely to have some sort of smart money. Not. All right. I like to see this kind of thing. So you can even see it from the chart wise, from 50 cents it goes up. It didn't have those straight up and then slam back down again. So definitely this is one of those stocks I think will go higher. What do you think? If you do agree with me, just type it in there. I'd like to know what is your comment for that one. All right, let's move on to our next in here is SCOMNET. Okay, SCOMNET here, switching to a bigger chart here. So if you look at SCOMNET again, the market we hit on the 9 and resting sideways too. All right, resting sideways in here, low volume, but we just have to make sure it doesn't slam back down again. They're just sort of waiting for that pause for the tech stocks to move a bit higher. We have seen the Nasdaq moving higher here. So right now, SCOMNET looking pretty good, 186. It came from an old high of 220, and that was the February old high, and we have the Nasdaq correction. Now take note, Nasdaq is already taken out the old high. So this, I believe, will also work. Now remember, many times our tech stocks tend to follow the big brother, which is from US side. All right, so do take note of that one in here. Okay. So let's move on to what we have for you next is our stock trade idea for this week. That's right. So for our trade stock idea for this week, for episode 58, right, 16th of April, is CIHolding and Prlexus. So if you type on to the premium alert, you will definitely see that one too. Let me just get onto that one. Go back to main menu. Go to not hot sector. Go to premium alert. All right, and you can see this is where we are, just above in here. So let's look at the first stocks that we have. CIS. Okay, expand this up a bit. CIHolding. Okay, it pops up. It actually gaps up. 3% gap here. Okay, 3% gap here. All right, and it's trying to do its third attempt of breaking high here. Long period of congestion, that's something I like here. Low volume, then you see this volume coming in here. Now, if you this is where we'll be taking of it, but possibility this market will also pause. But let's see next week how the market is. The next stock that we have has a better setup, Prlexus. Okay, and you can see that's right. After a long period of congestion, take out the UT, which is very powerful, and have volume in here. All right, this one looks pretty good. It came down from a low base. Prlexus, if I'm not mistaken, is apparel. Let's take a look. I'll see. It's up here. Let me just take a look. Prlexus is item number 5. So double hit item number 5. Go to the stock fundamentals. Just want to check what they do right in here. It's a consumer small cap. Pretty small, 180 million in here, and of course you can hit that one. That will take you to their website. What do they do? Yeah, they do baju one, knit. Yeah, they do face masks also. So they do baju. Maybe this is tied to the ongoing Olympic Games, which is going to be ongoing too. All right. So this is interesting to note. All right. So those are the 2 trade ideas that we have for you. Let's move on to the next section that we have. Right. Is our stock pick. This line chain in here, as I said before, we want to look for those step up volume, right? The step up volume that continue to go. So always remember step down volume and step up volume in here. So also this is the QR code for those of you who want to watch more of the VSA tutorial in here, a 9 minutes video in here. And also don't forget, tomorrow we are starting our Trade Smarter with SMARTRobie workshop at 10 to 12 o'clock. So that's the one that I'll be talking about. We'll be on Zoom, so it's a way for me to communicate and talk to some of you of the question that you have, and also to hear some feedback that you have on SMARTRobie, how we can develop and make a better solution for you guys over there. All right, now don't forget to be a top fans in here. Continue to become a top fans, and if you share, you can claim your 300 free credit in here. All right, for the month of April to June. All right, let's move on to our last but not segment, which is the stock review in here. And usually I will give thank you to Bernard, Simon, and Happy for their latest review on our SMARTRobie Play Google Play Store. And those of you who want to have a first preference to the stock review, definitely you want to give us a feedback. We really appreciate if we have done a good job. All right, so let's look at what I have right now, and we're going to be looking at some of the stocks that you guys want me to look at. We definitely have KLSE. I think I've already reviewed that. QES. Okay, Miss Lee is looking at rubber racks. Okay, let's look at rubber racks. Okay, rubber rack looks good. All right, you can see there was a nice pullback in here, 10% up. I think all the rubber is going to run nice. I said before in here. Okay, that's a nice one. Okay, next one we have Rohana. Okay, I will take pick. Okay, as I said before, I will look at your comment and check whether if you are our feedback priority will be given to the feedback. Okay, people who have feedback us in Google's. So I will look at Chung Amel. Okay, emotion sudah koyak, DNO turn merah already. Yeah, Cikgu, it's okay. The one is long. If you want to take some profit, remember DNO, it's a long-term play. All right. Okay, we get JF Tech, Idris. Now is the right time to buy Top Glove. Always misting. Again, going back to education. What do you want to do? Whether it is to get the kind of education or follow SMARTRobie. Remember, at the end of it, it's all about being a train trader and a train investor. Many times, as I said before, you rely a lot on confirmation and backtest. Do some backtest inside there. All right. So what is SMARTRobie say? If you have followed SMARTRobie, let's say for example, Top Glove. Okay, Top Glove. Okay, let's look at Top Glove on the Pentagon in here. Okay. I think I brought this up. If you have gone in much earlier here, okay, on this top in here around 480, that will be a definitely good price. And you notice that top glove on top of me, rubber racks on this side, they all have same pattern. All the glove stocks are going to jalan. Okay, so it's something good. Okay, and so we have eSafe. I think eSafe is also glove stock. Yeah, it's also glove. Yeah, glove stock. This one belum jalan lagi. This one, as a matter of fact, have breakdown. So usually try to go for the higher quality one. All right, because there is a market leader. There is what we call market lagger. Then this definitely is a market lagger. And I don't like this kind of stocks when you see it. Remember, right, a lot of this dot thing, which means this one, there is actually no smart money even supporting it. All right, so that is a note. Take note of it one. Okay, I'm going to cross over to the other side. If anyone, from the, want me to look at some stocks inside here. All right, Simon, Emilus. All right, Simon, thank you for your kind review. Okay, Emilus. If you have not put in there, Emilus right now, like the tech stocks, sort of impulsing, but this one's still okay. You got low volume here, no problem. Okay, Nora. Okay, hi Jerry. Okay, we got Sukuman, D next, Mutusami. We got Kevin Chan, Top Glove. I think I mentioned that. All right. Okay, so that's all I have for today. So I want to close the session in here, right? And if you want to get the first preference review, go over to Google Play Store and give us your feedback if you've done a good job. And I'd like to move on to probably the last section in here. Subscribe to our YouTube, right? And be informed of all our latest video in here, segment in here. And also don't forget, join our Telegram chat room if you're a first timer in here, and be informed of all our chat. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 o'clock on Zoom in here. So we probably let you guys in around 9:45 and so forth. And we will be doing our SMARTRobie workshop. So thank you for coming. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.